Oh. Whoa, hello everybody. We have perfect timing from a very funny, very special guest. I like to say that he is somebody's renting his seat of power because he doesn't need one to have all the power. They try to buy it, but you can't buy people like this. He's the man, the myth, the legend. We are honored to have him. Congressman, Doctor of Education, the Unpolished Jamaal Bowman. Welcome, Dr. Bowman. What is your preferred title?
Listen, that intro is one of the best I've ever heard. So let's just stick with everything you just said.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the order in which you said it, but the order, the rhythm, the intonation, the emphasis. Nice job, buddy. I love it, man. Appreciate you.
And we mean it here.
We mean
Thank
it. Thank
you.
you very much. That's what years of stand-up comedy taught me. And I used to I try to make other people look good. That's what my friend Leroy said. He said your gift is to help other people's gifts shine on through. So Leroy's
has America really come to the point where we understand the genius of comedy and those who do stand-up comedy? I don't know if we've really grasped it yet, but it has to be coming soon, man, because you guys are and gals are incredible, brilliant artists, thinkers, thought leaders, historians. I mean, from Carlin to Pryor to Murphy to Chris Rock to Chappelle to it's the white boy name. I'm forgetting his name right now. From he was on Chappelle, but now he's a big guy himself. What's his name?
Neil Brennan.
Not Neil Brennan. I mean, Neil Brennan is dope too. But I'm talking about the big guy now. He's big. Wow, this is embarrassing.
No, it's embarrassing for me because you know what always ends up happening is people are always like, hey, do you like I love all of the people that you mentioned because that's who I was watching before I started doing comedy. And then once I started doing comedy, I was kind of like, I got to find everything else that's funny. That's because I'm from Chicago. We live in Chicago, Meg and I.
Yeah.
And, Del Close was the founder of Second City.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't invent improv, though. Actually, Meg, did you know that improv was invented in the Robert Taylor homes by Viola Spolin? And the reason she invented improv...
I don't even know who that is.
Well, the Robert Taylor homes is a public housing complex in Chicago. And the reason Viola Spolin invented improv comedy is because she wanted to teach children who may not have the money for toys how to play without, and that's why you have object work, right? Like I got the ball.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, I mean everything from oral histories to freestyle emceeing. I mean, it's what it means to be human, man. So I really appreciate you and the craft and the work. And the person I was referring to is Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. That's who I was thinking in my head, but I was
referring to. So, and listen, Eddie Murphy raised me, man. I mean, I grew up on everything Eddie Murphy, like Delirious, Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. I don't know what happened with 3, but 1 and 2 was awesome. The new one is awesome. I mean, Coming to America, obviously the classic, the first
Trading
one.
Places.
Traded Places.
We talk about that line
hours,
every day.
48 hours, another 48 hours. See, another 48 hours is underrated.
That's underrated.
Another 48 hours. So anyway, I didn't expect to be talking about comedy like this with you, but you know.
This is the whole thing, is me and Meg said, like, when we started this, it's supposed to feel like hanging out in your friend's like garage or whatever, just like in and out, you know, hanging out, chilling, doing whatever. People come, people go. When we have our guests on, you talk about what you have to talk about.
Listen, man,
we talk about what we want to talk about here.
I mean,
want to learn.
So Chris Rock's 3 back-to-back stand-ups. I forget what years.
96, 97, 98, I think.
Yeah, like Bigger and Blacker. No, the first one I think was Killing Me Softly.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bigger and Blacker. And I forgot Never Scared. Did I get those right? I'm proud of myself.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Googler, but
so those three are on the, like, again, because everything's moving so fast right now with like social media and this and that, left, right, everybody's all over the place. We don't take the time to really just take a deep breath and pause and sit and just enjoy the craft of like a genius at work. Bigger and Blacker is like up there. Like he's at the Apollo. I mean, this is vintage. It was just classic. Anyway, I'll stop there.
No, please don't.
You know.
I love the Chris, because the thing I love about comedy is that it's a lot like jazz. Like stand-up and jazz are very similar in the sense that they're both very inherently American art forms. And but like Chris Rock, in those, like he kind of has informed my politics, because he always said punch up. And Dave Chappelle, when I was in Philadelphia, I was with a group of guys from Harvey, Illinois, and we were doing, one of my buddies was we were working on a TV show at the time, and he was an actor and I was just kind of an assistant. And he's like, "Oh, you do comedy?" So we kind of became comedy partners. And we were in Philadelphia. And I actually kind of think of this quote when I think of you. There was a picture in the green room, and it had Dave Chappelle, and it was one of those Sharpie deals. And I took a picture of it, and it said, "Hey, comics, whatever you have to say it, no matter what it is." And one of the reasons why I got involved in like Kat's campaign, and when I was talking to Kat, I was like, there's no such thing as a law. There's no such thing as if you take an L, it's only a loss if you don't learn a lesson. And like, that's what I think about in terms of like what you and Corey Bush did, which was like, you were moving everything forward, and we're building off of the information we learned, and we're continuing to make progress. And that's why I think when you talk, you never take pride. You always pay homage. You know what I mean? Like to the past. And I really respect that with respect to how you carry yourself. So we're honored to have you.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here. Thank you for reaching out, man. And looking forward to the conversation for sure.
So yeah, tell us about, Meg, what were you say you saw on Majority Report that was like your kind of like,
So what did I say?
We
love
Majority Report.
We love Majority Report. I was because like one thing is I hate asking people the questions they're already getting. So I'll like watch there earlier and be like, what follow-up questions do I have? So but when you're talking about one of the things when you're writing your book is that people know that you were like a middle school teacher. They don't know the story of the crazy badass kid who one day became a middle school teacher. And I'm like, well, I need to know the story of this crazy badass kid who ended up like, tell us more about that.
We're gonna read his book, Meg.
Oh man,
I would love a preview.
Yes.
So first of all, I am so grateful for the question. And it's a great follow-up question. And that's actually why I wrote the book. Like, how does, someone like Jamaal Bowman become Jamaal Bowman? So the badass kid, where do I start? Man, I mean, school just wasn't my thing, right? Like you went to school because you kind of had to, and it was fun to like, be with your friends and like mess with the girls. But in terms of like the content and the curriculum, like it wasn't when you're a Black boy and you don't see yourself in the curriculum. Now, mind you, I'm speaking in hindsight now. At the time, I didn't really know I wasn't conscious of this, but upon reflection, and then, I also came of age as hip hop came of age, where you're learning about your history and culture in hip hop, but then you're going to school and you're learning that your history started with the enslavement of your ancestors. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Who were we before we were enslaved, before we were invaded, before my ancestors were kidnapped and brutalized? And so never was really feeling school. And then I had a dad that, kind of abandoned me, like when I was really, really small. I used to go to his house on the weekends at the least. Him and my mom weren't together. So I would go to his house on the weekends. And then one year he just like stopped showing up, he just stopped showing up, and he would call and say he was going to show up, and then he wouldn't come. And it happened over and over and over again. And I remember consciously making the decision, like, you know what, I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm not going to call anymore. I'm just going to go outside and be with my boys, be with my people. And that was probably maybe 6th or 7th grade, and from 6th or 7th grade through like 10th grade, I mean, constantly fights in the street, robbing fruit stands, getting beat up by the cops.
Is this in New York?
This is in New York. This is early 90s New York City.
You said you're up. We talked one time. You said you were like upper near Harlem, or
yeah. So I was Upper East Side until I was about 8, till my grandmother passed away, and then it was East Harlem until I was 8, and then Upper East Side after my grandmother passed away full time. And so just getting in a lot of trouble, getting in a lot of fights, getting arrested, being suspended from school multiple times. Mm-hmm. And this was like, this is crack cocaine epidemic. This is like Tupac and Juice, and everybody wanted to be Pac. So the peer pressure in the streets were just crazy. And yeah, I mean, I used to get in a lot of trouble in school. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't until the end of my 10th grade year, when I got my report card and saw that I failed every class except gym, that I was like, it's like, what, man, I gotta do something. I gotta turn this around. And ironically, my father lived in New Jersey, and I went to go live with him just to kind of get out of New York.
We're in Jersey.
And at least finish high school. Sayreville, New Jersey.
Is that north, central, or south?
That's central.
Which county?
Middlesex County. Middlesex.
All right. I used to.
But for me, it might as well have been like, Wonder Years, Whiteville, whitest place.
It's like
in
going
America,
to Chicago
right?
to Indiana.
It's just like, I mean, it's 45 minutes from New York City, but it might as well be 4,000 miles from New York City, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but when I got to Sayreville, I got to get away from all of that and focus on like just getting my grades right and playing football and sports. And that really helped me to sort of recalibrate. And what I write about, so I write about all this, but I also write about how my boys back home, they didn't get to escape to Sayreville, New Jersey. And so, they were selling crack, and they were, living in those shootouts in the streets. And many of them aren't here anymore. Many of them didn't make it to 21, and so part of the reason why I started writing was because even as a congressman, as a Black congressman, I didn't really feel that the political establishment and even the progressive movement really knew who I was. So I wanted to write that story. And even more importantly, I want them to know who our little Black boys are, and brown boys, and boys who feel just like marginalized, man, because my story is similar to other Black boys, obviously from certain communities, but it's also similar to many white boys who come from rural communities, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who go through all kind of shit. Shout out to Eminem, who used to tell those stories. So,
and shout out to Fred Hampton, who's on the wall back there. Who? Fred Hampton.
Yeah,
chairman, because that's what he did in our part where Kat and I. It's uptown. There was they call it Hillbilly Heaven because all the dudes from Appalachian Mountains lived up there. And Fred Hampton, when he built the Rainbow Coalition, went up there and saw that the class.
But one other quick point.
Oh, please.
And so that's all. That's the kid who became this, right? But I talk about the systemic violence that me and my friends had to deal with, right? So when we're calling out the establishment today, white supremacy today, Zionism today, like all of these things today, they're rooted in like historic harm, like policies like redlining, like the Iran Contra scandal. Like they kept communities, locked in the projects with crack cocaine and heroin, and gave them that as their economy, right? And so that's what the book is about. It's like me navigating the world as a Black boy who became a Black man, dealing with these systemic barriers like along the way, which makes sense when you look at where my career is now as a public figure speaking out for justice and human rights for all people.
I had a quick follow-up to that, because, when I read I was reading your website. Meg is usually the prepper here. She's like organized and like with it. And I'm like a stand-up comedian turned whatever this is. But I thought one thing that I don't want to put words in your mouth because you're the writer. But I resonate with your story because like when my parents split and my dad kind of did his thing. Like, I started writing in my journals when I was 10, 11, 12 years old because I felt like everybody was telling me how I felt based on what I heard. And I felt like I was going crazy. So like I had to write it down, and then I ended up telling whatever I wanted to. So I really like empathize with why you started doing that. And it's really empowering to hear that this is going to help other people who feel the same way. One thing on your website you said was, it was about, tell me about how the Barack Obama exceptionalism thing makes, you know what I'm talking about? It says it on your website about how this is about empowering everyone, not just like once in a generation talents. If I'm not doing a good job of summarizing.
No, that's exactly right. First of all, let me say emphatically that writing has saved my life multiple times.
Me too, yeah.
Just the practice of writing, even writing this book. Because when I started writing this book, I was not in a good place. When I lost my race, I was broken. I was depressed as hell. I was drinking and eating way too much. And I was completely unhealthy, and I was probably over 300 pounds. And so I was not in a good place. And the writing started my healing process to getting myself back to where I knew I was supposed to be and where I am now, you know, thank God. But even prior to that, you know, when I was, and I write about this in a book, when I was a high school dean, feeling like I was being forced to suspend Black and brown students, you know, every other day in an effed up system, while white and Asian kids went to a specialized high school right across the street from us, and they had all kind of privilege. I wrote about that, like you. When I get down, like really down, I turn to the pen, and at every phase of my life, I literally wrote my new reality. It's really so. That's another reason why I wrote the book, because I want people to read and write again and more, and not just follow social media. But yeah, Barack Obama is exceptional, right? Like he, you know, yes, he suffered from and share a lot of family trauma that many of us share in terms of like a single parent and all of those things. But brilliant person, mom who was on his butt, you know, forcing him to work hard and do all those things. Went to the most elite schools in the world, right? From undergrad to grad to law school. Is an exceptional orator. He is aesthetically appealing in the context of what is aesthetically appealing in Western culture, right? He's tall, he's thin, he's, you know, he's just he's the complexion of a brown paper bag, right? That's the paper bag test, right? That we have to pass. So he is exceptional. What I am arguing and what I have been fighting to help people understand my entire adult life is that every child has untapped potential, that it is our responsibility to create the environment to help that potential shine and thrive in a safe space, but to also nurture it as well. And as I was writing the book, I came across this study. It's loosely called the Lost Einstein study. And it's a study that looks at third grade test scores of children from different communities, and children from certain, and they perform at the same level in third grade, but the kids with more access and opportunity and resources go on to become scientists and engineers and have patents and go on to earn generational wealth, while kids from the hood who had just as good test scores in third grade, because they don't have access to those resources, don't go on to be entrepreneurs and have patents and all those things. And what that does is it hurts our country. It hurts our GDP. It hurts our health. It hurts our collective well-being. And so that's my argument. That's my fight. If we give every child access and opportunity to their self-determination and their agency and what they have inside them, they'll change the world. And we've seen it. There's so many examples of this. And going back to like comedy and the arts, hip hop is one example of this. And that's why the chapters of the book are named after hip hop tracks.
Love that.
That sort of articulate the arc of my life. So chapter 1 is Run's House by Run DMC.
Yeah.
Chapter 26 is All Right by Kendrick Lamar. And so you got that arc happening as well, because hip hop has always been the rhythm of my life.
I love that.
Well, I have a cool Ice-T story. Can I just tell you the Ice-T story?
Of course.
You go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't have it. I love that. I was gonna say, is there a Changes by Tupac chapter?
Yeah, he referenced it in his not that Tupac song. In Ireland, you referenced a Tupac song in your speech.
Is there Changes by Tupac? Dear Mom is definitely there. Because I write a chapter about losing my mom to COVID. And so Dear Mama is definitely there. Is Changes there? I feel like it's not. But just because, if you've ever written a book or an article or a Substack, anything, it's a rhythm to the writing. And you're kind of in the flow of the writing while also tapping into your subconscious. And so, like, as I was writing in the rhythm and tapping into my subconscious, whatever song popped into my head, that became the title track of the chapter. And that's all so fun. I love that. To fit,
Yeah, no, it's I call them coincidences in God in 12-step programs. They and that's kind of what I call it when the arts is it's this kind of like strange synchronicity that makes all of the things, I think one of the things that's helpful about writing is that you look back and you don't blame, because blame is backwards, but writing helps you make that blame accountability and action moving forwards. So you have to figure out a way to make it, because if you want to write something good and balanced, it has to be rooted in the principle of like a relationship. Like it's a two-way street. It never works because of one person or the other person. So there's that balance. And then when you find that song or you find that like poem or whatever, and it all just kind of fits, you don't like argue with it.
What?
It just releases.
You just made me think of something. It's almost like a conversation between and an engagement and interaction between your conscious and subconscious. Like as you write, right? You're consciously writing the words on the paper, but you are subconsciously like pulling the themes and the sensory details. And I mean, and of course I'm writing this mostly from memory, right?
Right.
It's like the stuff that lives in your bones, lives in your DNA. It like comes out. Hey, listen, I just figured something out. I'm gonna blow your mind with something. I'm gonna show this to you. You ready? Here it comes. Yes. You ready? Okay. Bang!
Oh, what is that? Is that your childhood bat? Who's bat? Is that your back? That's you. This
is my house.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So the whole first part of this interview, I'm talking to you and I'm like, why is this freaking background in my screen? I didn't set this up. So I'm messing with the buttons as we're talking. Like, how do I change it back to like my actual home? Like you guys are in your real places. So I want to be in real places with you. So this is my real place. This is the crib, yo. We in the crib.
Oh,
nice.
Wait, Matt, can we do
Thanks for having us.
Real quick? Can you do
show and tell? Sure. Let's do a show and tell.
Matt, that you want to show an object that you got handy? Or Jamaal, do you want to do one? Can I call you?
A show and tell. Okay, hold on.
What do I call you?
Wait a minute. Show and tell.
Anything you want to pull up. I feel like they don't do this enough. I got a show and tell.
Yeah, hold on a minute. I got something. Wait, hold on. All right, I got something. All right, cool.
Okay, I have my things.
There you go. First of all, you got Walter Payton on your shirt, so end the story. Like that.
Yeah, show and tell.
Yeah, you don't have to say
Walter Payton.
Words.
We went to church with Walter Payton. So my family was close with his family.
Oh, you know Jarrett?
I know Brittany.
His son and Brittany, yeah, they're cool.
Brittany, I know. I was so young.
All right.
My son Wolf painted this.
There you go.
Ooh, bumblebees.
I
love that.
And then
that's
my
good.
son Otis colored
There we go.
Yeah, and he's been practicing his name, Otis.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go, Otis. So okay. What do you got, Steve? You got something? What do you got?
Well, I got James Connolly. I bought this. James Connolly. This is a Easter Rising he was a trade unionist in Ireland. He ran a trade unionist newspaper. He's one of my heroes. It was a bunch of artists and goobers, like I've told Meg in the past.
So when I went to Ireland, I went to his museum.
Oh, you did?
The museum that is dedicated to him. And I got a tour from the gentleman that was there. I'm forgetting his name now. But James Connolly is like one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century.
That no one ever talks about.
That no one talks about. I mean, this guy, DSA America, like everything we're fighting for as like progressives, as socialists here in America, James Connolly was like, and his crew and his disciples. I mean, they did 10, 20 years in jail fighting for, not just labor rights and trade unions, but like fighting against occupation.
Yeah.
I mean, these dudes is no joke, man. I met them all like political prisoners. I met a few of them, man. I got some pictures. I'll send them to you.
Oh, really? Like,
yeah,
dude.
I got some pictures.
And he set a high bar. I mean, he got wounded in the Easter Rising, and he was so badly wounded that they couldn't even stand him up for the firing squad. But the last thing he said to his wife was like, the person he cared about the most, I think her name was Inez, was like, and I could be wrong, you just went to the museum, but I try and remember this stuff because it's important to me. But I think he said like, well, it was a life well lived, wasn't it? Like, it's like he left it all on the field.
Yeah.
And that's what it says here. It says the Irishman frees himself from slavery when he realizes the truth that the capitalist system is the most foreign thing in Ireland. And based on what's happening now in Northern Ireland, and they're trying to make that a Northern Ireland issue when in fact it's actually quite partisan and specific to the context of history there. And I know you gave that keynote, but your show and tell now, we're excited.
Yes. So first of all, behind me, that's a sip and paint painting.
Love that.
Of my wife. The ladies, they often do sip and paints. So so that's one of her sip and paint creations. But right here, I have some ceramics for you. Ooh. So this is a pen holder. My daughter is 12.
Oh, that's
it's not cute. A pen holder. What is this? It's a pen. I'm calling it.
I love it.
Multi-use.
Multi-use object. And this is what is this, Maya? What do we call this?
That's beautiful too.
Oh, I love that.
Plate bowl thing is how she describes it.
I love that color.
Plate bowl thing.
It's like a catch-all tray kind of
catch-all tray. I mean, when kids of a certain age will be rolling something up on this. This is definitely for that. But yeah, man, my daughter's just finished 6th grade, on her way to 7th. So, she's doing cool stuff in school.
That's great. You got a choice at that age. You can either start creating or start destroying. And then sometimes the destruction leads to creation in my case. And it sounds like we got a lot of anyways, Meg, that was a good show and tell. I'm glad we're doing show and tell. Everybody, we need to reconnect with the traditions of our of the fun part of school. I like it because I thought about it because of the Lost Einstein thing. Because I'm like, 3rd grade was cool, man. We were just curious. We weren't judgmental. There were no grades.
Yeah, man. And in 7th grade, I write about this in the book as well. There was this teacher, Mr. Sacerdote, that everybody hated, but he taught an animation class. And I'm like, I love cartoons. I want to know how cartoons are made. I want to take the class. I took the class, and he explained what the materials were and the equipment was, and he was like, all right, go create something. So it was my first experience with self-directed learning, which I became a huge advocate. I'm still a huge advocate of, for kids. And so I got some magazines and cut out some pictures and found a Michael Jordan sort of Jumpman symbol. And I put the symbol in this machine with these pictures and took a bunch of pictures. And when you press play on the animation, it was Michael Jordan flying through the world with different backgrounds. Before dunking the ball. Is my first of all, it's my first time being in the zone, in flow. Working in school. It's nothing like it, man. And my first time getting an award at an award ceremony and being recognized in school. So the arts, man, just dope shit. Anyway, You want to talk politics too?
Cool, though. That's cool. That's awesome. That's like when you put your head down at the desk and you don't lift it up.
You lose track of time.
Yeah.
These are just magic moments that, I had the privilege of experiencing in the arts and in sports in particular. I just want all kids to experience the magic moments of existence as they tap into their full potential. Anyway, I'm rambling too much.
No, you're not rambling. This is the whole point of this show.
This is the point, to hang out?
Just hang out like they're going to their friend's house between, doing whatever, just like coming to hang out. You don't know who's going to be there. You don't know what to expect. It's like we hear so much from people about what people want to hear, and we're just like, where's this conversation going? That's why Meg is always the one who tells me to relax and just go with the flow. Meg, right? What do you think of Meg, what do you think of what's your first flow moment in school? Do you remember?
No, see, so I grew up super like evangelical Christian. So I went to a church school. I graduated with a class of like 5 girls.
5?
There wasn't much room for creativity.
5?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Megalore drop. All right,
go. Yeah, so like it's a very rigid environment. I don't think I got to be very creative. I think I was very suppressed. I think it was very depressed because you can't really create or think, or you can't be a free thinker. So I don't think I really started to figure out creativity till I went to college and just really enjoyed learning like real history that wasn't Christian nationalist history. And I don't know. I feel like that's where I really was like, oh, this is cool. Just like researching and learning about the way all these things connect is really fun and cool. And yeah, so yeah, some Meg lore. I grew up in that whole little world that the Heritage Foundation would just love.
Wow.
What was the first history story that was like, oh, this is crazy for you?
Okay, so like I grew up believing that it was justified that the Pilgrims genocided the indigenous people because the indigenous people were not using God's land the way God wanted by advancing the gospel of Jesus Christ. I learned that when I was like 11, and I remember thinking like, that does not sound right, but you can't ask questions because they're not trusting God. So then when I went to college, I went to Fordham University, and my major was history.
In New York.
And we had
Where's Fordham? Fordham's in the city or like upstate?
Well, there's two.
I went to the Lincoln Center.
There's one in Lincoln Center.
The main one's the Bronx. I went to Lincoln Center, and for history, we would have to walk over to the Natural History Museum and just study primary documents. And so reading about how like straight up racist, genocidal freaks everybody was who built like from their own words, like, that was like mind blowing. And I was like, oh, everything I know is a lie. Like this is, and I'm somebody who's always been very empathetic. So it was like very easy for me to undo that. Cause I was like, this makes a lot more sense. Like this, and I just like went down that, but yeah, just those two differences. It's like, so I understand how people are brainwashed the way they are. It's like the same thing with Zionism. It's okay that this genocide is happening because it is their I'm like, how do people not understand it? That it like the people who are like, we're fighting Christian nationalism are then defending Zionism. And it's wild to see that happen. It's like, I understand what it is to be told that. I do not understand what it's like to actually believe it and continue to believe it. And that is what's odd to me,
Do you think that do y'all think that like fascism is like kind of is like gambling in that like they capitalize on people's emotions in order to continue to get them to make bad decisions that aren't emotionally like intelligent? Like you continue to hurt other people.
That's what I mean, that's like one of the psychological
I used to gamble.
Like
that's
the things
why
that they do.
I'm not a fascist, but
flooding the zone. Flooding the zone, the chaos is the point. The chaos is what makes people like start to think in black and white. It makes them think in extremes. They can't understand nuance. Then they just start to focus on their own survival. But it's like with or without Donald Trump, it's like capitalism has done that. They've made it so it's really hard for people to survive. And so, yeah, they have to make choices to survive,
Yeah. I think it's psychological warfare. And I think it's cognitive colonialism, right? Like if you are raised to believe a certain thing from like, birth,
Right.
Over the course of your life, your brain is literally wired in alignment with that way of thinking, that way of being, that way of speaking, that way of existing. And if you don't have the emotional intelligence, as Megan just referred to, it's hard to unlearn that, and it's hard to undo that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you combine it with the level of trauma that exists just as you exist in America as working class, trauma impacts the brain's ability to develop higher order thinking skills and critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So you combine that complex trauma with the cognitive colonialism, and they fucking got you, man. You know what I'm saying? And so like, that's why I like my second favorite movie of all time, because nothing will overtake Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube and Cuba Gooding Jr. That's number one. That will always be number one. Second favorite movie of all time is The Matrix, yo.
Yes.
Like, The Matrix is like
so
this. Is like this is it's a documentary.
Oh,
It's literally
also,
like, come
that's
on.
Also an Illinois 9th, the Wachowskis. They're
It's The Matrix, man. I mean, it's literally like we got to free the minds of the people. And then you know, when you get to a certain age, and what do you got to do? You got to work to earn a living, to pay your bills and whatever. And then you just get caught on this, like, in this rat race of survival, that you don't even have the, you know, it's hard to have the, like, the freedom, the cognitive liberation to even imagine or daydream of a new world. And so, like,
my friend who was going to officiate my wedding, my friend's Jeff. He has this initiative called the Good Fathers, and he basically just sets up these, like, it's like a call like this, except it's just a group of dads, and it's a place for them to, like, feel their feels, talk about their stuff. And Jeff's like all of us. Like, everybody has, you know, same blood, different mud. Like, it's all like, we all have our histories. As somebody I knew from Vietnam, when I asked him when I was at the lowest point in my life, I was like, you had an excuse, you were in Vietnam. And he's like, well, it's not a contest, Steve. Everybody has Vietnam.
That's right. That's right.
So, but he always talks about how everything in modern society, like especially within the context of capitalism, is rooted in fear-based incentives, and that the lack of abundance is what they rob you of. And so you feel like you never have enough. And then he says that, combined with however you've been hurt in your past, is enough to keep you going on their track.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's like, the hard part is that you're never going to get somebody who, like, changes it from the top down. You got to change it from the person. You got to change it with you first, and then you got to change it to the person standing next to you. And so he's like, it takes time, but don't get angry. Be patient.
It's a very wise individual. He's exactly right. Absolutely.
Jeff's my guy. He's a pretty interesting dude. He comes on. He's going to be coming on if we can get him organized. But he is organized. He's just got kids, and he's made that the focus of his life. And I really respect it, because he's basically said, like, hey man, like, I want to be a dad first. And I think that's cool. Like, so anyways, that's my addition to that. The thing I was curious about in terms of the context of your time as an educator is how did that kind of take you from, how did you go from educator to like, where did you decide you were going to run for office, and why?
Yeah, I think subconsciously I knew for a long time. What's up? What you want? Sorry, I'm being a dad now too.
No, don't apologize for being
number one.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a dad.
Number one job.
What are you making? Cinnamon buns? No. All right. I want some, whatever you're making. So I think subconsciously I knew or thought that I might run for office at some point. Okay. I knew I was always interested in politics, because I was just interested in, like, how things worked. But when you work in education, and when you work particularly, like, in, like, Title I schools and, like, places like the South Bronx, like, you realize, don't do that now. You realize just, like, how privileged you were growing up, right? Regardless of your circumstance, and how freaking marginalized and neglected and harmed kids who live in abject poverty are, right?
And so Title I for our audience is federal grant. I used to be a Title I TA. It's a federal grant that basically supports kids on low and reduced lunch, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. President Johnson, after, took over after Kennedy, President Johnson used to be a teacher, and he used to literally see kids like eating out of the trash, right? Like during school. And he's like, we got to do something to give our kids the bare minimum to like function in school. So he started the Title I program. Okay. So Title I schools are schools that serve our most vulnerable kids. So my entire career is spent in Title I schools. Okay. And so this is another thing that brings rural America and urban America together that we don't talk enough about. Like rural communities are Title I, and the hood, urban communities are Title I. So I taught in the South Bronx, and yeah, man, just like, if you know Manhattan, like the Upper East Side is just like full of like an abundance of resources, right? So Central Park, Museum Mall, Museum of Natural History, Museum of Modern Art. I had like 6 or 7 parks right around my neighborhood that I could go to on any given day and play, and most importantly, feel safe. In the school I taught at in the South Bronx, the kids had none of that, right? And so they're going to a school that's under-resourced and then living in a community without resources. And many of them, unfortunately, had parents and families that didn't really earn a lot of money, no matter how hard they worked or how many jobs they worked. And so, like, when you teach in that environment, first of all, teachers every day make miracles in these environments. So shout out to the teachers who really do it for our kids and for the right reasons. But I was, I taught in an elementary school for 5 or 6 years, then went into a high school to serve as a dean for 2 or 3 years. And I was like, man, I want to do more. So then I went into school leadership and school administration, became a school principal, and actually opened my own school. I wrote a proposal and became the founding principal of a public school, not a charter school, in the Bronx. And so that for that first part of my career, I was like, okay, education is the revolution. Like, if we could just give our kids a great education, the revolution will happen, right? And so that was the mission. And Nelson Mandela has a great quote: education is the most powerful weapon to be used to change the world. And it's a quote that I live by. And so when I became a principal, we did incredible work, and we became the highest performing school in New York City in 2016. So we were killing it. We were doing great. But kids still had to leave school and go into communities without resources, communities that were over-policed, communities without job programs, communities without parks and sports and all these things. And in 2017, 2018, I started to see a particular rise in self-harm in my school, where self-harm is usually visible through cutting of the arms. And it was a rise in self-harm, like disproportionate rise, and it was amongst girls mostly, and it was amongst Latinas mostly. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I did a couple Google searches, and oh shit, this is happening across the country. That there was just this rise in self-harm and suicide ideation and suicide attempts. And that school year, 2017, 2018, it came home in a very strong way. So more 911 calls to address children who were having episodes that needed to seek medical attention than I ever had in my career that school year. And then in neighboring schools, we were seeing kids take their own lives at some horrific rates. Like, we're talking like 17 suicides in New York City.
Oh my God. Wow.
But then we also seen rise in just overall and homicides too, where kids would get into fights, someone would pull out a knife and stab the other and kill them. I mean, this was like, it was just everywhere. I just started to feel numb and powerless. And I would talk to elected officials about this kind of thing, and it would just go over their head. Like, they didn't have the sense of urgency that I felt was needed for our kids. And so 2018, the squad wins the election, and AOC becomes like the new face of like, you know, modern day politics, if you will. And she's right from the Bronx, representing the Bronx. I'm in the Bronx.
Yeah.
So I was super inspired by her and super inspired by them. So I started looking at after I finished my doctorate, and I tried to become a superintendent, but you know, again, I'm in the title of my book is Unpolished for a reason. Like I'm just not an establishment person. Like it's just not me. Mm-hmm. And so that didn't work out. And so I'm like, what I'm gonna do next? And I just was like, you know, I'm gonna run for Congress. And and yeah, and that so but the one sentence answer to the question is kids were dying and I wanted to do something about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's actually still the answer to the question. Like that's still why I'm doing all this shit I'm doing.
That's your why statement.
That's my why, man.
You gotta have
kids are dying in the Bronx, they're dying in Chicago, they're dying in Los Angeles, they're dying in Gaza, they're dying in Sudan, they're dying in Yemen, they're dying everywhere. And we have like
in Carpentersville, Indiana, and Joliet, Illinois, in the middle of the corn. Like there is. That's what
dying everywhere, and we're just
in Dilley Detention Center,
and we're cool with it, right?
No, that's why I started.
That is such an indictment on a society. Such an indictment on a society that we are just passively allowing children to suffer. And not only that, we're often blaming them. We're especially Black boys, especially, you know, we're blaming them, we're blaming their parents, and then we're not. I'm sure being a teacher, principal, it would have been frustrating to be like, you can't change the infrastructure, the rules, like you can't change all of the things outside of the school.
I changed everything. So just for I was in trouble constantly for what you just said.
Okay, cool. I love that.
Like, I did not follow one fucking rule. Like,
what were some of the rules that were first for you to be like, okay, this is done?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the middle school schedule, right? Like, so school schedules are something that have been entrenched for 100 years, right? 200 years.
Yeah, the MIL program in Massachusetts. It comes out like some old shit.
Yeah, and so like first thing is like, okay, this isn't going to work for kids or teachers. We're going to just change the schedule, and we just changed the schedule completely. So, you know, English and social studies combined to become humanities. Science became project-based STEM. Technology became like a core subject because I wanted kids to learn the language of technology. Music and the arts were part of the core curriculum. They weren't like an after school thing. In gym, we had a wrestling club in the Bronx where you don't have shit like that. We were open from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day.
That's huge.
And open on the weekends too, so kids always had a safe place to go. Right. So just like, and then like all of the stuff outside of my school were like, oh, Jamaal, you got to come to this meeting to do this. Like, I'm not going to that meeting. If it didn't help my kids, I'm not a meeting. I'm not going to a meeting to listen to something. You can send me in an email. Right. It's like death by meeting. So all of that, man. But I used to get, you know, I would hire, vendors to come teach classes in meditation, and you know,
wow,
that's great. Now everybody's talking about mindfulness, but when I was doing it then, no one was talking about mindfulness. They thought we were it was like a religious indoctrination. And so basically a couple times a year I was probably under investigation for something and had to go, like, you know, be interviewed by investigators in the DOE about something that was just, it was just something so out of the norm, right? So just a real quick thing. In our budgets, 1% of the budget goes to the Parent Association for parent engagement. And so my parents wanted to use that 1% to get a bus to go to Albany and lobby for more funding for schools. And so it's their money. So we gave them their money. I was investigated for misappropriating funds that is literally in the budget line item. It's called Galaxy, 1% parent engagement. And so, like, stupid. I mean, obviously not guilty. I didn't do anything wrong. But anyway, I'm sorry to like jump in before you finish your question, but obviously I'm passionate about this. It was like, again, and I was the same way when I got to Congress. We got to challenge this whole shit, right?
Yeah.
We got to destroy, and build it. Like this doesn't fund any system that allows 2 Americans to have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined, and 1 in 4 children going to bed hungry. That's a system that needs to be destroyed.
The game is rigged. We need a new, and it's not it's not a game. So we need to stop.
Yeah. People are dying. People are dying.
Yeah, people are dying. Literally, poverty is a disease. And it's a disease we can cure. It's just that
because we created it.
Yeah, because we created. Well, we didn't. We inherited it from the people. Yeah. And that's the thing is that like, when I was a teacher, I told Meg, because Meg, the boys like tend to like, they're awesome. They're creative powerhouses. But when I was an after school assistant, I told Meg that I would have 100 kids, and there were 3 of us assistants for after school help. And this is like K through 5, right? So like 5-year-olds to like 10-year-olds. And so they would waste their time. They would have to line up on the line, and like they would all have to sit there, and we would have to count. And like the one lady would just yell at them. And I would be like, yo, we don't need to yell at them. I was like, what we need to explain to them is that our time is their time. And so what I did was I was like, all right, the boys are going to create a football league, and any of the boys who are artists, we're going to do a movie studio. So then I got the kids like, and then I would say kids would be like, oh, I got to do my science homework. And I was like, cool, let's take a little Barbie doll and throw it off of this cliff and figure out how much of the gravity we need to figure out. And it's like, once you gave them something, and the reason I got that idea is because Chance the Rapper said, Chance the Rapper did an open mic in the 9th District one time that I was hosting with my friends. And this was when he was famous. Like, he came in, and at a comedy open mic, everybody's trying to flex. So, like, he came in as Chance the Rapper to do stand-up, and came in, and everybody's like, that's Chance the Rapper. And he went up to the list and signed up last, waited till the end of the night, and did his set, which is insane. Like, didn't bump anybody. But then, like, 2 years later, there were all these young guys on the CTA, and I was hanging out going to an open mic, and I was like, what are you guys doing? And because I had some Jordan 1s, shout out to Danny Casterhone, who gave me some old sneakers of his when I needed them. And they're like, oh, we really like your sneakers. I'm like, thank you. I like your guys's too. And I'm like, where are you guys going? They're like, we're going to the Harold Washington Library now for an open mic that Chance the Rapper is hosting. And it goes until 7:00. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, we go every week. It's awesome. And I'm like, it's like, everybody has their own energy. You just got to direct it. It's so in like the parents want that change. They just need to get a bus up there, and no one's going to lobby harder than a parent for their children. Like, all they need is a bus. So it's like, but the people in power, it's like going up to a slot machine and saying this isn't fair and not playing. And then you say, no, you got to come back and play at the slot machine because that's just how it works. It's like, nah, man. Like, no, I'm going to go, like, come on. No, I'm not going to do that. Like, this is bullshit. It's a rigged game, and they don't like it. They don't like it when you call it out. Sorry, Meg. I get emotional about this shit. It just pisses me off.
Appreciate you.
No. So, Meg, what are we, speaking of the rigged game, we have this data center fight that's happening in Michigan. Meg and I are going to Detroit next week. Are you going to be around? You've been doing some stuff in Detroit recently, no?
Yeah, no, I'm actually taking a break, actually.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. So
I was going to say, I've been seeing you everywhere. I hope you're taking a little.
No, I appreciate that. No, it hit me a couple weeks ago when I was in St. Louis with Corey. I was just like, you know what? I think after this, I'm going to slow down from this. I'm going to take a couple weeks to just kind of stay in New York. So I'll be doing stuff like this and maybe some other media. And plus, I'm gearing up for the book launch. So I got to just make sure, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and all that stuff is ready to go. So I'm going to be doing that and still working out and being healthy and just relaxing, man, So, but yeah, I was in Michigan this past weekend. What's today? Thursday. Yeah, I was there Saturday and Sunday with Donovan and with Abdul, and it was very powerful, man. I mean, Abdul has run an incredible campaign. Incredible campaign. His team is incredible. The crowds are excited for him. He's an exceptional, person, which is awesome. And so I got to hang out with him at some churches and at some events. Got to see Senator Warren came on down, and Van Hollen came on down, and Pramila Jayapal. So it was good vibes, good energy. All the polling is looking good. We got a few more days. I was just with who was I with last night on MSNBC? A moderate, damn, I'm forgetting his name now. But I told him, Abdul's gonna win. And he's like, nah, I don't think so. I'm like, all right, man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you say.
They really don't want him to. They really don't want him to.
They really don't want him to. And then this guy, then he tried to bribe me. What I'm gonna paraphrase what he said, but basically he said something like, "How much would it take to get you off the chessboard?" That's what he said to me. I was like, "Whoa!" And then he told me like if it was APAC, I was like, no amount of money would take me off the chessboard. But when he said that, I was like, okay, these motherfuckers are really shook.
Yeah, you're on the board, dude.
They're really
and you
shook.
are on the chessboard. Look at you. But they don't understand that when you've already proven you can't be bought, you can't be bought.
Can't be bought.
Like people who can be bought truly do not know what it is like to move through the world on principle, standing 10 toes down. They just can't fathom it. It's like that weapon doesn't work here. Like it just won't work here.
No, it doesn't work at all, man. And because I noticed this the last couple of weeks, and it's interesting. And I don't know, I may have to talk to you, Steve and Megan. I don't know if you guys do this, but I may need a publicist, man, because there was a Times article that mentioned me the other day. There was a Guardian article that mentioned me. There's a Nation article coming out that mentioned me. The New York Times magazine.
So they're trying to. They're going after you now.
Not going after me. No, they're connecting what's happening in this moment to what happened to me in 2024, which makes sense, right? Because you have APAC spending this record amount of money this cycle again. Oh, when did they start doing that? Or when was the last time they did that? 2024 with Cori Bush and Jamaal Bowman, right? What's Jamaal Bowman doing now? Well, Cori's running for re-election. Jamaal is all over the country helping candidates, and not only helping candidates, but they're winning. These candidates are winning. And so it's so anyway, that's it's good. It's good stuff. And so Abdul's win would be just another sort of feather in the cap, but as we know, the fight and the work continues.
Always.
I don't know if people understand how good Abdul is. We first met him in the spring, was it? And I didn't really know. I just knew he's on the list of people we're going to support
in April.
Yeah.
I was wearing a wig and a mustache.
Yeah, I just knew he was on the list of people that we're going to support with the upcoming, I didn't know how, but then he first of all, he comes out to Changes by Tupac. And I'm and then he speaks and I was like, oh, this guy he could be president. He is very, very good. And I feel like it's been cool to see other people very quick. The establishment does not want to see or accept, but then they're pouring so much money into it that it's it is crazy. And she just keeps going down in the polls, knock on wood. But he's really good. And I think his story, similarly to yours, where he realized he wasn't going to be he needed to do something about the healthcare system. And there's something different about people who actually were facing the issue and they're like, okay, let's go fix it, instead of someone who's all right, I just one day I'm gonna be a politician and do the steps to get there. You've faced the issues, the systemic issues head to head, and you're like, okay, this is what we got to do. This is just the next step.
100%. I mean, that's all of us, man. That's all of us who ultimately decide to run. And you're right. He's exceptional. Zoran's exceptional. AOC's exceptional. Ayana, Ilhan. I mean, these people are incredible. Just incredible what they do. So again, real quick, Summer Lee. I mean, so real quick. Her. So you brought up changes again. So I had to pull up my table of contents.
Oh, please.
To double check if I had changes on the table of contents. I felt I did, but I wasn't sure. So I do. It's chapter 6. Okay. And it's right after. So it's right after chapter 5, which is Represent. Do you know what album that's from or what artist is that from?
Represent.
No. I don't know.
So that's off of Nas's Illmatic album.
Yes.
Represent. Straight up shit is real, and every day could be your last in the jungle. Get murdered on the humble, guns and blast, niggas tumble. So it's Represent, and it's right before. So I'm gonna give you a preview. Okay, I'm gonna give you a preview of the table of contents. Okay,
please.
So first of all, the book is broken up into 3 parts. Part 1 is childhood and education. Part 2 is campaigns in Congress. And part 3 is a short part, but it's called People Power. And that's where I pivot to talk about everything that's happening right now. So just a few chapters. So chapter 4, there's a lot of Pac on my joint now that I look at it. So chapter 4, 5, 6, and 7 is Keep Your Head Up by Pac. Represent by Nas. Changes by Pac. Casualties of War by Rakim. And the Casualties of War chapter is the chapter where I begin to talk about my when I started teaching, the beginning of my teaching career. And very interesting because year 2, I started teaching 99, 2000. So 99, 2000, 2001. 2000. Yeah, so 3rd year, my first son is born in May 31st, 2001.
Okay.
And then September 2001, the world changes, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So that chapter is Casualties of War. And I'll give you one more chapter, chapter 8, They Schools. Do you know which artist that's from? They Schools.
I don't.
No.
See, I'm much older than Megan. I don't know, Steve. I don't know how old you are. You're younger than me too.
I'm 37. Yeah.
I'm 50. So They Schools is Dead Prez from their album We Want Freedom.
Okay.
By the way, I'm giving you some gems.
I'm writing them down.
If you don't know Represent and you don't know They Schools after this podcast, take a listen. You'll fucking love them.
For sure.
I love Bill
For sure.
I actually looked up a Nas song, Bridging the Gap, because he says I read more books than the curriculum profiled. Whenever you say curriculum and then how it doesn't serve somebody, that's what I looked up. But so anyways, Dead Prez, They Schools.
They Schools, yeah.
Okay.
They Schools ain't teach us shit. My people need freedom. We're trying to get all we can get. All them high school teachers can suck my dick, telling me white man lies. Straight bullshit. That's the hook.
That's a good.
That's a good.
What's the in theater? Well, in sketch, we always do tops and bottoms. So you always do the first chapter and the last chapter. What's the first chapter called? What's the last chapter called? Do you mind divulging that?
I'll divulge that. You're getting exclusives, by the way. These are
I know. We don't want to I believe that nobody else is...
I need you to help me out. I need you to clip this and put
it on social. Our editor Chris is
because we need everyone to go to unpolishedbook.com. Put in your email address and sign up for the list because pre-sale starts September 15th. And then it's off to the races, man. We have very ambitious goals. 15,000 sales week 1.
Oh, we're going to do it.
November 17th. Because that will put us top 5 New York Times bestseller.
Wait.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So
we've got the directive. We're making it happen.
Let me tell you something right now. If Congressman Dr. Jamaal Anthony Bowman has a New York Times bestseller after leaving Congress in this fight with AIPAC, we're changing the world, son. We're changing the world.
Yeah. I'm buying 10 copies. That's Christmas gifts.
Appreciate that. And that's why it's dropping November 17th, right before Thanksgiving. where people take a little break. They might pick up a book and read something. And you got the holiday season, and it's right after the midterm. So we hope to be a part of the conversation going into 28 for the presidential.
There we see. It's don't time the market. Timing, you got to time though. Timing is everything. By the way, to all of our audience out there, Chris, clip this part. Obviously, you're gonna clip all of it, but save your money on a Hallmark card. Buy somebody you care about a good book, and use the inner jacket to write a personal note, and that is something they will keep and enjoy for the rest of their life. Do it.
Yes,
I promise.
True.
Yeah, 100%. So chapter 1 is Run's House by Run DMC.
Right. So that,
Chapter 26, I misspoke earlier. I said it was All Right. All Right is chapter 25.
Okay.
But chapter 26 is the final chapter before the epilogue, and that chapter is Girl on Fire.
Oh.
And it's one of 2 chapters that is not a straight hip hop track chapter. And I picked that title because it was after my loss. And it was like the first major thing I did after my loss was teach my daughter how to ride a bike.
Oh.
And so I write a chapter, and it was July 3rd, right before July 4th, July 3rd, 2024, where I was able to shake off the loss and be like, come on, Maya, we're going outside. Let's get the bike.
Oh.
And, I bought the bike for her a year prior to that, but never had a chance to teach her because I'm back and forth in Congress doing Congress shit. So anyway, Girl on Fire. And it was just the process of us learning, like in that one day, she learned how to ride a bike. And it was not much of my teaching. It was like her own sort of grit. It was like her own like trial and error. Right. So Girl on Fire is chapter 26. So Run's House, chapter 1, Girl on Fire, chapter 26. Then the epilogue, and then I have a recommended reading section that I'm really excited to share.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because I'm 50, right? So this is like 50 years of my life. I mean, it starts at about 8, so 42 years. But
Congrats,
it's like 50,
man.
Thank you, man.
Half century, dude. That's awesome, bro.
And again, I have many friends who aren't here.
Yeah,
So
may their memories be eternal, as we Greeks say.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And so anyway, but the recommended reading is like 50 books for 50 years. And it's 50 books that just helped me to sort of navigate the world and make sense of the world as I try to sort of come of age, if you will. And so that's, I think people are going to like the recommended reading as well.
Mag, what's your favorite book? I've never asked you this as a friend, but I'm curious if there's any. I feel like there might be some overlap in the reading list. I'm curious. Dr. Bowman, Congressman, we want to be respectful of your time. So if you got to bounce, it's all good. But we just kind of chill. So you can come and go at
usually when I do these, the host kind of tells me when to go, but let's see.
I mean, we want to be like, I mean, if you got to jump, like you got to jump. I'm just like,
when did we start? We started at 3.
Yeah, we started at 3, so I do want to add.
Yeah,
it's been an hour. You've been very generous. I do want to ask one thing though, because I thought Arius. You met Arius, right?
Have I?
Yeah, Arius from Cat's campaign. He's the guy. He was working with Cat, and he's our creative director. He is the brains of the operation. Very talented guy. Did some work with Rick Rubin of all people.
Okay.
But I asked him. I was like, I wonder. Do you freestyle?
No.
Okay.
Every time anyone's heard me rap, it's someone else's lyrics.
Okay. So I was wondering, so we saw you intro yourself by opening with the Wu-Tang song. That was you, correct?
Probably. Where were we? Where was this?
I think Arius was, I don't remember where it was. He told me about it, but so how did you learn all the, like, you just this is just like soundtrack to your life?
Yes, the sound. Hip hop is like, it's like anyone, man. Like, you go on Instagram, what do you see? You see people like rapping their favorite songs, right? Or singing their favorite songs, or father daughters doing like covers. Like, so it's like anyone. When you're a person of a certain age and you listen to this music constantly, it just becomes like stuck in your brain and like part of your consciousness. So for me, hip hop is like, it's like my religion, man. It's like the air I breathe. It's like everything to me. So like, yeah, man. I have So again, like anyone else.
Would you just, it's just, all right. Well, we have this whiteboard. Well, we have this chalkboard here. So this is kind of how we put a tag on everything is, what's a good lyric for us to put on the, we put it on the board so that the next day the person's learning from the last person we spoke with. So what's a good, it's hard to do because it's like the encyclopedia trying to ask
a lyric. So anyway, when you just asked me that question, it made me think of when I was in LA recently. And, you know, I'm in LA and I'm on like the most LA street you could think of. So like the tall ass palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been on a street like that. So I get out the car, see these palm trees, and I tell the person to give me the mic. And then I just spit Ice Cube's verse from Straight Outta Compton, like off the top of my head. And it was freaking awesome. It was great. So, so I'm thinking of an Ice Cube lyric or a Straight Outta Compton lyric, but that's all.
Crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Yeah. That
game with an ass.
So are we going any lyric?
Any lyric, just like, you know,
any lyric you want to leave for your leave.
I used to work in a warehouse. Meg and I, our resumes look like Frankenstein's monster, but we both agree the job is leave it better than you found it. So we always like to have something from our last guest that our next guest can think about. So
got it. Okay, I got something. Hold on. All right, how many? Okay, I'm gonna say it, but it's not one. It's not like a word. It's like a phrase.
Perfect. No, yeah, like that's exactly what we're going for here.
Okay. Hey, yo, we're trapped in our own brain. Fuck behind bars. We've already gone insane. They've already gave up. Cut our own heads off. Stab our own backs and drink too much without fulfilling reality. Too greedy in. Can't have, what is it? Can't have 1 or 2 chains. You need 3 of them. Can't have 1 or 2 guns without squeezing them on our own people. And fuck black leaders because whites ain't got none leading them. The rhythm is cosmic. Nas is divinity. The trinity's property. Deity's prophetess. Anyway, that lyric is from a song, Black Zombies, off the Nas album Lost Tapes.
The Lost Tapes. Black Zombies, Lost Tapes. That's coming up on our chalkboard next week.
There you go.
Tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow, yes.
Dr. Congressman Jamaal Bowman. I hope you've had a good time talking to us.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining.
Everybody who came, make sure that you buy unpolishedbook.com. Don't worry, we're going to chop up all these clips and make sure that 15,000.
15,000, man.
And you know what Fox News does for Sean Hannity? They buy 15,000 copies and they stick them in a conference room. But that's not how this works.
That's exactly how it works.
We're gonna have individual.
So we're gonna show them the power of the movement, because it's gonna be a few hundred from every corner of the country with all of our progressive supporters, God willing.
Yep.
Yes.
There we go. All right, everybody.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate
See you soon.
You.
In
Thank
person.
you. Yeah.